Hey guys, it's Sam Limon back again with another tutorial. This time we're going to be working on our independent cereal box. So this project follows after our candy box project that we did for our book assignment in the Against the Clock books. So after our packaging, we're going to move on to this. So I'm going to be providing these files for you. So what we're going to do is we're going to go into our folder, go into Schoology, and then go ahead and download, let's see, it's going to be our Photoshop book assignment cereal box packaging, and I'm going to provide this template. So once you get it, you're going to go ahead and open it. And if you get these missing fonts, go ahead and close it. Ignore that. I don't know why those show up. I looked through the layers. If you see the layers, I have my folding guides, which is these. I have my margin guides. So I have these margins. And I have the box cut lines. So it's weird. I don't know why. Again, I have those fonts. But what I want you to do now is go ahead and save this. So go ahead and go to File, Save As. And we are going to name it, I'm going to click on Cereal Box Template. And I'm going to name it Cereal Box and change template to your name or your last name. And make sure it is an Illustrator file. Make sure it's not the Illustrator template. So make sure it's AI, not AIT. And go ahead and save and go ahead and click OK when you get these options. So now this is going to be our working file. It is now in Illustrator file. And essentially what you're going to do is you're going to create something very similar to what you did in that candy packaging project. However, this is going to be a cereal box. It's up to you how to build this, but let's try to incorporate some of the tools that we learned through that previous project. So first thing I want you to do is do some research, look at like what a cereal box looks like. So front, the two spines, and the back. So some of the cereal boxes have a game, some of them have information. So this is going to involve a little bit of research. So I'm just going to go into Google and I'm going to type in like cereal box, cereal box packaging or package, and let's go ahead and do a little bit of research. So if I just look at any of our boxes, we could start seeing, you know, what the front could look like. Usually it's a logo, the name of the cereal, maybe some information about, you know, vitamins, minerals, things like that. Some special features, you know, they might include toys or what it might be, and then a big image of the product. So there's something funny. There's some Rice Krispies. And then one thing we could do is also focus on the side. So cereal box, and we could look at what the side usually has, which is going to be some nutrition facts, maybe some ingredients, maybe some more information. So feel free to find a cereal package, you know, in person and look at it, check it out, see what it has, and then we could look at. We're going to have the other side, so something like this maybe that has some information such as some General Mills information, how they're responsible, giving back. And let's go ahead and look at the back. So this one's going to require some research. So we can look at the back of this Frosted Flakes. And it seems like there's photos of some children with some paragraphs. So like I said, some of these have games. So this one has like a little game right there, some Super Mario stuff. So feel free to bring in even some like Photoshop images, but let's try to incorporate some of the things we did on the previous project. And you could feel free to make it a like a parody or something. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do a pizza themed cereal box. So let me go ahead and start off with that. I'm going to think of a logo and some images, so I could create something in Photoshop, and then I could bring it in, and then I could use my image trace option, and then I could trace something. So again, keeping in line with what we did in the previous project. And we'll build out again like the spines and the back. You could do something like that where it's a product that doesn't exist. You know, you could think of a different company that does not make cereal. So we could have fun with this one. If not, you could just completely make up your own cereal. So I'm gonna do a little bit more research since it is gonna be pizza themed. I'm gonna search up Domino's Pizza, and I could pull up some colors and things like that. So let me go into images. So I could probably use some of this. Colors, I could see their boxes. So I could try to create something like this or something like this. I could also check out the Domino's website and see what they have. Okay, so I'm gonna sample these colors. I'm going to try to pull the logo and find something to do with it. You know, I could use this theme, so these bold white letters with, or these bold white numbers with that deep red 3D effect, just to fit the theme and to try to make it look realistic. So one thing I could do here is take a screenshot. So on Macs, I could do Command Shift and 4, and that gives me this little cursor. So I'm going to click on this side, drag all the way to the bottom right so I could sample this, and that gives me the screenshots. Let me go ahead and look for that, and it is right here. Now I'm going to open up my folder and I'm going to place it into my cereal box packaging folder, drag that in there, and let me go ahead and look for an image of a pizza slice. So actually, let me open this up. Open image in a new tab. Actually, I should have saved this. I should have left my folder open. So let me go ahead and open up my folder, just so I could start pulling in reference. So I could drag that in there. It's a WebP image. We'll see if it opens in Illustrator. I'm not sure if it will, but if not, we could always go back and convert it. I could pull some stuff from here. So let me drag this into my folder. Let's see what this leads to. There might be some other things. The logo, we're going to need the logo for sure. So I'm going to look for Domino's logo. And maybe I could get this one, open image in a new tab. Let's see, let's download the PNG. So we could download that. And there's several of them. So let me download this one. And let me download this one. Open up my downloads folder. And let's pull both of these logos up, preview them. These are perfect. And now we have a few things to work with. And let me also look for a image of a slice of pizza. So let me look for pizza slice. And let's look for a very nice one. Let's see. And we could always go to vectors as well. Now that I see this, we could always go to Vect Easy and see what we could find. But for this one, I want to find a real looking pizza. So maybe this one. An image in a new tab. Okay, so I'm going to say this one looks pretty good because I want to pretty much mask this one out, so I could mask it out and put it into our into Illustrator. Well, if I mask it out in Photoshop, just so we have this alone, and then we could put it in Illustrator and then use the live trace. So I'm going to click and drag this out. Let's see if it accepts it. And there it goes. Okay, so there's that. And let me look for a bowl of cereal. And let's always look for a large one. So let's see if this one works. Actually right click and open image in a new tab. Okay, perfect. So I can take this one. And let me look to see. I'm thinking of filling the bowl with a bunch of little pizza slices. So let's see if we could find something similar. Let's look at this one. So that might work. Might require some cutting and pasting, but it's okay. Something like this. An image in a new tab. Let's see. Okay, that's a little bit small. Okay, there we go. I'm going to take that one as well. So as you can see, some of this is going to require like a little bit of thinking ahead of time, putting things together. What I'm trying to do essentially is I want to do a you know, obviously the theme, the Domino's theme. Let me go back to my Illustrator, the Domino's theme. I want to have a bowl and showing little pizzas in the bowl and probably like a big slice of pizza. So I'm gathering up all my images first. And now that I have my images, let me go ahead and start placing a few things. So this is going to be my front here. So let me go ahead and make a new layer. And I'm going to name this front. I'm going to make a new layer, name it side info. Make a new layer, name this one side nutrition facts or nutrition. And I'm going to make a new layer and I'm going to name this back. We could also do top and bottom. So let's go ahead and do those. And we're going to treat the top as a whole area above this, and we're going to treat the bottom as this whole area. So actually, let's do top front. So I'm going to rename this one, so top front. And I'm going to put it right above this, so I know what it is. Then with top side info. So these flaps basically go in, so actually we won't worry about those. So we'll do top front, and then we'll do top back, and then bottom front and bottom back. So let's do a top back, and let me do a hyphen just to be consistent. And then we have site info. Let me drag back over here and make a top back layer. And a bottom. Actually, we just did that, so let me rename this top back. let's name this bottom back, and let's do a bottom front. Okay, so we're gonna have our front, our top front, and then we're gonna have our back, top back, and then we're gonna have our bottom back, and then bottom front. Let's put that one over here. And then side info and side nutrition. We want to keep our box cut line at the very top, so that way we can see what we're doing, and we could turn these margins off and on as we need them. And then our folding guides, we'll leave those on so we could create shapes based off of these. So good time to save now. Command or Control S. So I'm going to start off by working on my front layer. And let's see, I want to bring in, so I'm going to go to File, Place. I'm going to bring in the logos. So let's do this one, and where was my other logo? So it's both of these PNGs. Go ahead and click Place. And I'm just gonna, oops, I clicked and it is huge, so I'm gonna undo that. I'm gonna click and drag to place them roughly like this. And I'm gonna go ahead and also place the screenshot that I took of the box so I could have some reference. Select my, let's see. Actually, that one was not a, I don't believe that the box was a screenshot, so I might have to, yeah, it was not. I'll go ahead and bring in the website though. So let's click on place, and I will click and drag. Let me undo that, click and drag over here on the outside. So File, Place again. Take that screenshot, make it a little bit bigger, that way I could have things to reference. And now I'm going to go to cloudconvert.com. I'm going to click on Select File, and I'm going to navigate to my working folder for the cereal box packaging, and I'm going to select all of my WebP files. So here's one of them. That's the one that I was looking for. And open both of these, and I'm going to convert them to JPEGs. And go ahead and convert them. Download this one. Okay, so I got a couple versions of the same one. So remember, when you do this, I believe there's a limit. I forget if it's, you can only do 5 or 10 a day, I believe. So, you know, use this sparingly only when you need to, because you are limited. So now I'm going to go ahead and open up my downloads folder. And let me bring in this recycling. And this one as well. And I had done another one. I'll take that one to the trash. And for these purposes, I'm going to go ahead and delete my WebP files. And okay, so I should be good now. Go in here and go to File, Place. And now I could hold Command, select both of those, or hold Control and select 2 at the same time. Place. And again, I'm just going to click and drag. Whoops, that was the wrong one. Let me delete this one. Place again. And that's the one recycling, so place that one. Okay, so I see that it's a white box and it has a red outline here, so I'm going to use that to kind of guide myself. So I'm going to click on my margin guides to turn that on, and I'm going to see right here my guides for my margin. So I'm going to essentially use that red line as my margin. So I'm going to click on my rectangle tool and I'm going to select no fill. So I'm going to actually click and deselect this image, and now click on my rectangle tool, and now I could select a no fill, and I could select a I'm going to leave a black stroke for now. So I'm going to just click in here and drag, and now I am going to sample the color from this. So I'm going to, let me see if this will select it. Yes. So now I'm going to double click here and I'm going to copy this code, Command or Control C, and click OK. So now I'm going to click on I can turn off my margin guides for now. Click on this box I made and double click on the stroke color, and I could paste it right here. Command or Control V and click OK, and now let me increase the stroke a bit, and I'm going to zoom in. I want that stroke to be on the inside of this line, so I'm going to go into my stroke panel. So if I don't see it, oh, there it is. If I don't see it, I could go into Window and Stroke, and that will show me my stroke panel. And I want to make sure it's not in the middle, but it is on the inside. So there we go, and now we have the matching color. Okay, so now I'm going to move this logo somewhere out here, and I'm going to use this logo, hold shift and make it bigger. So I was lucky that I found this image. If not, feel free to make your own logo depending on what you do. So I'm going to use this, bring it up a little bit. So I am using my center guides. So when I move it, I could see that pink guide, so that tells me it is centered. And I'm going to find a similar font to this. I do not know what font this is, so I could quick search it and see if I could possibly download it, find it. That way I could add cereal down here and try to make it match. If not, it doesn't matter. I could do a different font, but just to keep it consistent, let me try to find, again, Google search, and see if I could find the Domino's logo font, and see if we could find it. So it is Futura. So I believe I have that. So let me go into my font and see if I could activate it. And I do have this Futura standard, so I'm going to turn that one on. If not, you could always download it, or if you find a font that you need, ask me. Chances are I might have it. I could do a quick search. If not, there's always the internet, and you could find a free version sometimes. So now I could go back in here, click on my type tool. Let me go ahead and lock my let me lock actually this layer so it is not interfering with anything. So lock this one. Let me make this view a little bit bigger. So panel options, and I could go to a medium view, click OK. So there we go. Now I can see this a little bit better. So I'm going to click on my type tool, and I'm going to click, and I'm going to type in cereal. Double click here, and I could change this to Futura bold. And I could click on my eyedropper tool, select this blue, click on my selection tool, and I could click and drag this and hold shift. And let me fix up the kerning a little bit. So I'm going to tighten this up a little. So I'm holding option, put my cursor in between some letters, hold option, and tighten these up a little. And something like that. One thing I notice is this is not Futura exactly, because I'm seeing those round corners on this, the M. So if I was to type in an M right here, so it's just like a rounded version of Futura, but it is pretty close, so I am going to leave it as is. Pretty close, it matches. And let's see how this plays out. Let me try to center this. I could always drag in a guide to this center line, and now I could center this one there. And I'm going to say that looks okay. It looks a little bit looks like there's more weight to the right, and that's probably because of this logo here. So I might change it up later. I'll leave it like that for now. So I'm going to go ahead and continue, and I'm going to add that pizza slice over here. So I'm going to go ahead and go into my Finder. I'm going to open up this pizza image in Photoshop. So I can open up my Photoshop. So I'm going to go to File, Open, and I'm going to go to my desktop. Command D takes me to my desktop, and I'm going to look into my Sam Limon folder, go into my cereal box packaging, and let me find that image of that pizza. Go ahead and open it. And now I'm going to do a quick mask around this pizza, because that is pretty much all I want, is just the pizza. So find any way, if you need to do anything like this, find any way to mask. So we could incorporate some Photoshop into our Illustrator document, so it'll be a mix of both, but mostly we want to work in Illustrator. All of this, keep in mind, all of this could have been made in Photoshop, but we are going to be using the tools we just learned in the previous project, so that's the purpose of that. So I am using my trusty pen tool. Feel free to mask out anything if you want. I could have added this whole image there, but I wanted to spend a little time and do something a little bit nicer, something that I really want to do. Now I could right click and make it a selection. Let me give it a feather of about 2 pixels. Click OK. Go to my layers panel, and I'm going to add a layer mask. And now I want to do Command I to invert the mask. Now I want to save this as a PNG file, because I do not want anything out here. So, and actually, I'm looking at it, it's a little too blurry, so I think I'm gonna give it a 1 pixel radius, a feathering radius. So I'm gonna undo, Command Z again, Command or Control Z, right click, and make a selection. And this time I'm gonna do a 1 pixel feather radius. Click OK, and do my layer mask again. Command I, and there we go. So that looks a little smoother. It was just a little too blurry on the edges for me. So now I could do File, Save. I'm going to do Save As. I'm going to leave it in that same folder. I'm going to save this as a Photoshop file. Just to make it easier, I'm going to name it pizza slice.psd. Save the Photoshop file. And I'm going to do File, Save As. Actually, File, Export, Save for Web. And I'm going to make sure I make this PNG 24 to include transparency, so I could click and drag around so I can see what that's going to look like. And I'm going to go ahead and save it. And I'm going to save it in the same folder. So I'm going to do Command D, look for my work folder, and I'm going to go cereal box packaging and go ahead and save it there. And now I could close my Photoshop file and go ahead and save it. Okay, so now I could go back to Illustrator, and I could go to File, Place, and I could bring in the PNG, which is going to have the transparency. So I'm going to look for pizza slice PNG. Go ahead and place it. And I'm going to click and drag. And I'm going to rotate it. Do something like this. Hold shift as I make it bigger. So I'm thinking I want something like this. I want the bowl over here at the bottom, and I'm going to have some type over here. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this image, and I'm going to do the image trace. So let me go ahead and click on image trace up here. And let me go to my image trace panel. So I could click on this here. If you do not find it, you could go to Window and Image Trace. Now let's change this from mode to color, from black and white mode to color. And give it a while to do its thing. So this gives us vector paths. One thing I want to do is I want to turn off the preview, and actually I want to, let's see how many. It has a lot of paths, over 1,000 paths, 30 colors. So we have the maximum colors, so we could go ahead and tone it down. It's up to you. I'm going to do 20. And let's try full tone. Let's see what that looks like. Under colors, I'm gonna, oh, that gives me 100, so that gives me a lot. So let's go back to 20 and see what that gives us. So let me turn on the preview. So I turn off my preview, that way it's not doing all this live while I'm moving things. And then once I have something set, then I could preview it. So I'm gonna call that good. And then I want to go ahead and expand it. And so now what that does is it gives me all the paths. So if I do Command or Control Y, I could see all the paths if I deselect it. So it's all these shapes. Command Y again, and let me go ahead and zoom out. We could have left the image like that, but I just wanted you guys to practice a little bit more with this image trace and see what it does. So essentially we could all trace something like this, but you know, we want to do this the easy way in a sense. And now notice how it created this shape around it. So I want to delete that shape, so I'm going to select with my direct selection tool, click on this corner, and I'm going to delete. Click on delete once. So what that deletes is that point and these two lines. However, there's still these paths. So now I'm going to hit delete again, so that deletes everything. So now if I click on my selection tool, I should have this as a group, and it is a vector, so I could move this as I please. I could rotate it. Now I could scale it up and down, and it is not going to lose quality due to the fact that these are vector lines. So there we go. There's an image of my pizza. I'm going to rotate just a little bit, and just to have that parallel line here. Okay, so now let me go ahead and add my bowl. So let's go ahead and go to Photoshop. Let's go to File, Open. And I'm going to open up my bowl. So there's a bowl, and I'm going to File, Open again. And I'm going to select those other little bits of pizza that I chose. So this one and this one. So let's see what works best. Open these up. So now essentially what I'm going to do is I'm going to save this bowl, and I'm going to put little bits of pizza in there. I know it's kind of a gross concept, but just a crazy thought for the project. And I'm going to, you know, use bits of these to place in there. So let me go ahead and save this as my main file. So I'm going to do File, Save As. I'm going to change this into a Photoshop file, and I'm going to name it Pizza Bowl. So that's my PSD file. I'm going to leave my background as is. And let's see. what's the best way to go about this? I'm going to select part of this shape. So I'm going to click and drag. Since this is going to be vectorized eventually with the image trace, my selections are not going to have to be perfect. So I'm going to make a selection. Again, 1 pixel radius, click OK. Now I'm going to add a mask to it, do Command I. And I'm going to drag this over to the bowl. And I'm going to do Command T, and I'm going to make this smaller. So I'm going to put it like this. And I'm going to make several copies of this. So I'm going to drag this down to make a new layer. Move that one around. And actually, before I do that, I'm going to delete this. One thing I noticed is it looked weird. I was able to see like a line here, and now I don't see it. So let me actually make a copy of this now. Move it around. Hold Shift. Drag both of these now. Move these around. Click on the first one. Hold Shift. Move these around. Okay, so that's like a good base for now. And I'm gonna just keep piling up stuff from different masks. So I'm gonna make a copy of this one. Delete this mask. Turn this one on, and maybe I'll select part of this one. So I'm pretty much just creating like a pizza looking texture. Make a selection. Command I. I'm going to bring this one in there. And make it smaller. So I'm going to group these. Hold Shift and select the folder. And now I'm going to make a copy of this one. And later on I could remove these from the folder and start moving them around. So hold Shift, that way I could clone these. Then hold Shift, drag these to make a new layer with all of these. And there we go. And probably just a couple more. So let me make a selection out of this one now. The colors might not match. We'll see how that plays out. But I just wanted to add some texture there. Make this a selection and create the layer mask, Command I. Bring this in here. Actually does not look too bad. So let me actually group all these layers underneath. Hold Shift and make a new folder. Make a copy of this. Hold Shift, move them over here. Copy those two. And I'm going to copy these 4. Oops. So what I'm trying to do is completely get rid of the cereal and Another copy of several of these. Yeah, see those lines? Let me see if it is. Yeah, so there are a few lines from the outside of the mask. So actually, before I do all that with these, I'm going to go ahead and delete a bunch of these, except for the first one. And let me go ahead and take care of that. So let's find this one. There it is. Go into the mask, do my brush, and go ahead with the black brush, erase this edge. So I notice it on a few of the other ones. So should have paid better attention. Sometimes this happens. Make a copy. Make a copy. Okay, so that's starting to look like something. Let me make my group a little bit bigger. I'm going to zoom in. I'm going to select all my groups and make them bigger. And now I'm actually going to get rid of my group. Of my groups. So I'm going to hold Shift on this group 2, bring all these to group 1. And I want to start messing with the stacking order. So let me delete group 2 now that nothing's in there. Select everything in group 3. Drag them into group 1. And now I'm going to delete group 3. And I could start moving things in now. So if I hold Command and I click on one of these, it'll automatically take me to that layer. So I could do this, hold Command or Control and click on one of these, see how it automatically jumps, so I could start bringing this in. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Depending, if there's something else pretty close. I want to get all of these within my bowl. And then I could preview this. So I could go to panel options and my little hamburger icon. Let's make these really small. Click OK, or let's see what none does. Panel options. If I do none, okay, there we go. So I could just start messing with the layers in here, just bringing some above others. That way it's not all repeated. If I could do that one, bring it below. Bring some from the bottom and drag them to the top. That way we have some variety. I could do Command T and rotate it. I could make some smaller. So that way nothing looks the same. We're still going to do some effects on these. So let's see what this one is. Just to give it to some variety. We could do that. Make a copy of this one, bring it up, make it a little smaller, rotate it. So just click on some random ones and rotate them. Select a small group. I'm going to drag that underneath. There we go. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a layer mask to this group. And I'm going to kind of cheat all these lines. So I'm going to click on my black brush tool and I'm going to brush the edge of all of these lines as much as I could. I do not want to go in and delete the pizza shapes either. So this is something that I should have taken care of before. But, you know, it is what it is for now. And honestly, they probably won't be too visible once we go ahead and do the image trace in Illustrator. Okay, so now let me go back and to my panel options and get the medium view. Okay, so there it is. There's my mask. So pretty helpful. Let me zoom in. It'll just, there's so many layers in there that it'll be so much work to go in and select each one of these. So I should have done that from the beginning. I should have caught it first. So a little example of what not to do, or an example of pay attention to what you're doing. Always a good idea to zoom in. And there we go. There is our bowl with our pizza slices. So let me do Command T on that whole folder. Move that up a little bit. I notice I still see some little bits of cereal here. So I'm gonna go ahead and, you know, probably clone some pieces. So I'm going to clone this one and move it up, make it a little smaller, maybe rotate it or flip it horizontal. Make a copy of that one, put it over here, and make a copy and make it smaller. That way we could see some of the pepperoni slices in there. And there we go. Okay. So now one thing I want to do is I want to add the transparency as well. I don't want this background, even though it is going into a white background here. So I'm going to go ahead and mask. And I see some more of that, this over here. So I'm going to click on my mask before with the black brush and erase all of this. And I'm going to select my background and I'm going to click on my pen tool. And actually I'm going to click right here. I want to select kind of like that shadow. So I do want to go out here, click over here. And I just want to make a selection of my bowl with my spoon. I could have used another tool, but you know, everybody gets comfortable with whatever masking tool they practice with the most. So I take it as a good practice opportunity to use the tool and use the pen tool. And right here I'm ignoring this part because that's part of our pizza layer right there, which I should have named, because we just want to do the bowl right now. And we are gonna eventually save this as a JPEG, as a PNG, sorry. Click there, zoom out. So there's my selection. I'm gonna right click. I'm gonna make it a selection, do 1 pixel radius, and let me go ahead and mask. Make sure I'm on my background layer, and I want to go ahead and mask that. And then I want to do Command I. So there we go. Let's go ahead and save it. And now let's go ahead and do a file save as. And I could do a PNG as well here instead of doing the save for web. Let me go ahead and save this. And I get this PNG format options. We're going to go ahead and do large file size. Click OK. And I can now close this, close this. I'm not going to save it. Close this. I'm not going to save it. And now I could go into my pizza cereal box design, and go to File, Place. And I'm going to select my pizza bowl PNG, go ahead and click Place, and I'm going to place it down here. And I'm going to hold Shift, make it a little bit bigger. So notice how this bottom part does have that part that is not transparent, so I'm going to move that in my layers. I'm going to move this underneath underneath my rectangle, and I'm going to center it more or less. I do have the so this is the center of my actual whole image. However, I do have the spoon sticking out over here. So one thing I am going to do here is I'm going to do the image trace, and let's go ahead and do something similar that we did to this pizza slice. So a little bit more practice with the image trace. Let's go ahead and select our image trace panel, and let's change our mode to color. After that, we'll turn off our preview so we're not seeing it do all this, because it does take a while. So I'm going to turn off preview. Presets, let's do a low fidelity photo. Whoops, I guess I did not. Let me stop this and turn off preview. Low fidelity photo. Let's push the colors on this one, 25 colors, and we could see how many paths and anchors it gave us. So let's click on preview now. And let's see what it looks like. We could do the high fidelity photo with full colors, and it'll give us something that looks a lot better. However, this preview is going to take forever to load. So you could zoom in and see it's just a mashup of these colors. So let me go ahead and highlight this, and I'm going to do 40 colors and see what that looks like. Hit return. And again, we could leave this without doing this, but just want you guys to practice with the image trace option in here. Zoom in, and I'm going to say that looks pretty good. So I am going to expand it. So click on expand. Let me zoom out a little bit, and again, it always gives us this frame. So I'm going to click on my direct selection tool, click and drag to select these points, hit delete and delete again. And now I see it does have this shape here from my Photoshop file. So what I'm gonna do is select these points here, and I'm gonna click minus these anchors. Zoom in again. So I could always edit these just like we've been editing other points and other anchors and handles. Let me get rid of these. So there we go. So that is gone. So that's part of that mask that I had. And let me zoom into this area. Same thing here. Let me select these points, get rid of them. Zoom in so I can see where this shape is. So select these points, hold shift and select both of them. And there we go. So now I see it has that little breakpoint, so I'm going to move this over here. That looks good. So if you want to mess with any of these, I mean, you're free to do so. Let me undo that, select one point. You know, I could move this, I could change the handles on it, and so on and so forth. So, but there we go. There's the front of our cereal box. Now I could always go and add something like this. Maybe I'm going to make my pizza a little bit smaller. Hold shift, and I'm going to make my bowl a little bit bigger, and I'm going to do something similar to this. So let me go ahead and do a little bit of research again on cereal boxes and see if there's anything that I could copy or see, as far as advertisement, as far as a headline or something. So I could do like 100% Italian pepperoni or something along those lines. And that's what we're gonna do. So let me go back to Illustrator, click on my type tool, now click right here, 100% Italian. Gotta make sure I spell pepperoni right. Double P, there we go. And I'm gonna make another box, and that says 100% California cheese, or fresh California cheese, instead of that way we don't have the 100% twice. So I'm going to hold shift, make this a little bit bigger. And I'm going to center these. So I'm going to go to my paragraph panel and center these. Whoops. Resize this. Now I'm going to go ahead and zoom out. So I see that it has a curve. We could add the curve or not. And we could add more. We could add more information here if we want to. So let's stick with this for now. I am going to add another box here below these. So click and drag to select the box. Click on my eyedropper tool. I'm going to select this red. And I'm going to change it in position. So I'm going to put it underneath. So I could always open up my layers panel and drag it underneath. Or I could go to Object, Arrange, and I'm going to send backwards. So if I just do or Command left bracket, that's going to send it back once. Or I could do Command bracket a couple times. So if you notice, each time I do it, left bracket on the right hand side over here on our layers panel is going to bring it down or bring it up with the right bracket. So that is Command or Control and with the brackets. So as long as it's underneath this, let me select the 100% Italian pepperoni, choose white. And I'm going to go ahead and click on my properties panel for the box. And let's add these options. So I want to do a corner radius. I'm going to increase this to maybe a 0.05. Hit return. So it gives me just a small radius. And now I'm going to zoom in. I'm going to select both of these with my selection tool, and I'm going to align them, center them. And then with my type tool, I'm going to select pepperoni. And I'm going to increase the size of that. So in my characters panel, or actually my properties, I have my characters panel. I could just bump up the size. So I'm trying to take it to where the right of the I lines up with the right of the N, and the left part of the P lines up there. And now I'm going to decrease the leading to make it come up a little bit. So now I have a nice block there. And I'm going to say that looks pretty good. And let me go ahead and see how it looks like with one of those arcs. So I'm going to select both of these. And then I could go to Edit. Or actually Object. And then Envelope Distort. Make with Warp. And let me zoom. I can't really zoom out right now. Let me do this arc. And I'm going to say that looks pretty good at about 20%. Click OK. So that looks neat. And then actually I'm gonna do the fresh California cheese. I'm gonna do it in these colors. So the fresh California cheese, let me actually select cereal, double click the color over here underneath our tools, Command C, click OK, and double click on this, select everything, and then double click on our color and do Command V and click OK. And actually, since we're going to be using these colors pretty often, what I want to do is I want to have that color and go to my swatches panel. Let me go ahead and click on the options bar in our swatches, and then we're going to select all unused colors, and let's go ahead and delete these. So delete these swatches, say yes. And now with this selected, so we have this blue swatch, I'm going to click on the new swatch, and I'm going to go ahead and click OK. And then I'm going to deselect everything, click on the eyedropper tool and select this red, and I'm going to make a new swatch. Let me turn global off actually, and let me select this one, double click it and turn global off. So we don't want the global for these because we might be switching back and forth. And now let's give California a little bit more of a call out. So I'm gonna click on the red one there, and I'm gonna go ahead and make this a little bit bigger. And I'm going to click on my type tool, select all of this, and if I hold Alt or Option and click the up arrow, it's going to close up my leading, just to close that up. And let me see how fresh would look if we have future, instead of bold, do medium. And I'm going to do medium on fresh and cheese. And now we could line these up. So I'm going to use this center line that I have here, and I'm going to use that center line to do this. Now I'm going to hold Shift, select both of them, and drag up here. So there we go. There's part of our box. And we could do something like that, Domino's carry out. So I could always move this up just to add more to my front. So I'm going to look for, in Vecteezy, I'm going to look for maybe like a little car or something for the delivery. So it'll be the delivery of this cereal box. So let's go ahead and go to Vecteezy. So you could find all sorts of cool stuff. You know, maybe I could have found a vector of a pizza or something, like a simplified one. So let's look for delivery car. So we could do something like that. I could always go license type and click on free license. So let's see, I kind of like this one, so I could open the link to that one. Let's see what there is for pizza, actually. So see, there's all sorts of neat stuff, and then we could change the colors. So let me actually, now that I found this, I could do this, and I could make it like a game in the back. And let me go ahead and open the link to that. Maybe I could use this as a pattern or something. So there's lots of cool stuff here. I could do something with fresh ingredients. So let me download this. Again, I believe Vecteezy lets you download only a couple things at a time, unless you sign up. But if you sign up, it's free, so you could just go ahead and download things once you have your free account. So I want that one. I definitely want this one. This one looks pretty cool. We'll see if it lets me download all of these. And maybe I'll wait on this one. This one I wasn't sure about. Okay, so let's go ahead and go into our folder. And I'm going to open up my downloads. And take all of these VectEasy files. Take these over here, double click, or just unzip them. Close out my downloads. So now I could open up the EPS file. So I'm going to right click and open it with Illustrator. So that's one of them. You get this warning. Go ahead and click yes. And let me actually go ahead and save my cereal box, because I've done a lot of work and I don't want to lose it. So let's go back to my folder. Open up the next one. I want the delivery truck. Open up the EPS. Open with Illustrator. Let's see this one. So make sure you always open up the EPS. EPS is basically another format of, it's all vector files. So EPS is kind of like universal. So if you're an Illustrator and you want to save something as an EPS, you could do that as well, and then you could open it in other programs. Whereas Illustrator files is specifically for Illustrator files. So let me open this one with Illustrator. So Illustrator will open up EPS files. And let's see what vehicle templates was. Wasn't sure about this one. Yeah, that's weird. I don't know where this one came from. Okay, that's weird. I might have had that from before for something else, but I don't recall. But anyways, let me select this delivery for delivery truck. Let me right click and copy it, or Command C, or Control C. Let me go back and go to my working file, so cereal box, and let me paste it here. So now I could close my delivery box. I could select this pizza, Command or Control C. Let me go back over here, Command Control V, and it is huge. So let me zoom out, hold Shift while I scale it down. So that's going to take a big part of the back of the cereal box. And let me go ahead and select this one. So see, in this one I have basically has two parts to it. So I only want this pizza. So I want to make sure, if this would have been grouped together, all I could have done was, let me undo that, select the point. So select this point and then delete and delete again. And now I could click on my selection tool and I could copy this. Command C, go back to my working file, Command V, and let me resize it. So hold Shift. If you happen to hold Shift and it starts doing this, then do not hold Shift. So it all just depends on what version and the settings. I believe it's in the preferences, so that's something that we'd be able to control. But I always hold Shift unless it starts doing weird things. And now I could close this one, so I could do Command W, do not save it. And Command W on this one and do not save. Let's save this. And let me see what that cereal box has, or sorry, the pizza box. So it says Domino's carry out. So I'm going to do something like that. However, I'm going to change this to blue. So I'm going to select the truck that I got, and I'm going to go to my swatches and select blue. And let me go ahead and make it a little bit smaller. And I want to rotate it just a little bit so the wheels look like they are kind of like on the same plane. And I'm going to go ahead and add to this. So I want these lines, for example, I want these lines to go further back. So just something that I could modify. So I could click on my pen tool and I could copy these. So I could select here, here. And I'm going to click and drag maybe over here. Hold Option, select there, and I'm going to click this one and I'm going to do that. And then I'm going to click my pen tool. I want to select this one. I'm going to make this one bigger actually to take over more of this space. Click and drag, hold Option, and then go to this one. And I'm going to click this, maybe modify this a little bit. Maybe not so much, or maybe move this one up a little. And I'm gonna do this one as well. One thing that I could do also, so now basically I have these shapes over those. Let's say I just want 2 lines. I could click on these points, so I could always modify something. Hold Shift, select this one with my direct selection tool, and click on that minus, this one, delete that, zoom in a little bit more. I could delete that one, and I could delete this one. And also, since this one has that handle all the way out here, I could just drag this one and bring it down to where it kind of goes towards this point. And the same thing here. And there we go. Got rid of those, and now I have 2 lines. So I completely made it my own. So I'm going to click on my direct selection tool, bring this down a bit, make that line a little bit bigger. So now I can select this, select both of my shapes, hold Shift, and select this shape, and then I'm going to go to my Pathfinder panel, and I can merge all of these together. So now it is all one shape instead of the 2. I didn't catch this. So I'm going to click on my direct selection tool. I'm going to select both of these, and I'm going to remove them. And there we go. And then I could always make this curved. So if I select this point, I can make this curved. Now if I hold Option or Alt, I could drag this point up that way, so to give me more of a curve. Get that one, and then go ahead and click on this one. And the same thing here, I'm going to make this one curved. So I'm going to hold Option and drag over here. Drag here. Maybe I'm going to move this point up, so hold Shift. Select both of these points and drag them up. And these 2. So just a little manipulation to make it our own. And I'm going to go ahead and click on my pen tool. I'm going to click here, go over here, hold Shift and click. Hold Shift and click down here, and hold Shift and click over here. Now what I want to do is I want to swap this because I want to do a stroke, and let me go ahead and deselect, select it. I want to make my stroke a little bit thicker. And I'm going to add a point over here. That way I could make this kind of like a banner, kind of like what we did in our candy project, and like they have here. And I'm going to just put the words inside, not right here to where it breaks the line. So I'm gonna go ahead and click on my, let's select this first, click on my pen tool, and now if I go here in the middle, click, and it adds a point. Click on my direct selection tool, select that one, and if I hold Shift and use the left arrow key, that's gonna manipulate that point that I just added. So now I'm going to click on my type tool, so click the letter T, and I'm going to click, and actually what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add the website there, so www.dominoes.com. I'm going to select everything, and I'm going to go ahead and do make this blue. So I'm going to go to swatches, make it blue. However, I want Dominoes to stand out, so I'm going to select Dominoes, change it to bold, and I'm going to change that to red. And now I'm going to go ahead and fit it in here. I'm going to hold Shift, and I can make it smaller. And I could actually move it down here. I'm going to make this a little bit taller to give me more space. And select that one, bring it up a little. And maybe this is a little too long, so I'm going to click on these points over here. This one, hold shift. This one, hold shift with my direct selection tool. And I'm going to hold shift and move these in to the left. Something like that. Select this. I'm looking at the top of the D. Is almost touching that line. I'm going to bring it down a little bit. Somewhere right there. Maybe down just a little bit right there. And there we go. So now I'm going to select this whole thing with my selection tool, Command or Control G, so that groups that, and I'm going to go ahead and center it. And there we go. So that would be a good front of my box for now. We'll see, I might add more stuff. But I think it's looking pretty good. And then we could start, building out some more of it. So let's see what else we could do. Okay, now let's see. Let's try to work on one of these spines. So let me go ahead and do a little research now and see what one of these cereal boxes looks like. So it looks like on this Cheerios one, on the left hand side we just have the logo, again some heart healthy information, and we actually have an ounce size down here, so we could always do that. So let's copy something like that beforehand, and then so on the left hand side we have some information, so that means on the right we could have a let's see, cereal box nutrition label. So we could probably find one and copy it. Kudos to you if you want to go ahead and recreate one. That's going to be a lot of work, but you could go ahead and do that if that's something you want to tackle. For this, I'm just going to see if I could find a high quality image. And I'll go ahead and add, to the front, I'll go ahead and add like a size, maybe some of this information. So net weight 12 ounces, 340 grams. Let me go ahead and do that right now before I forget. And that means I could always move, select my selection tool, select all of this and take this to the left and click on my type tool, click right here, and then I could put net. Let's see exactly how they do it. Net WT 12 ounces and then 340 grams. Net weight 12 ounces and 340 G. And now this isn't super important information, so I'm gonna change it to medium. Let me try condensed medium maybe. There's a space between the ounces. The space, I want to color all this. Maybe I'm going to do a lighter version of the blue, so I'm going to select this blue and then double click, and I'm going to go up and left, or maybe up here, and let's see how that looks in there. And I'm going to make this a lot smaller. Or actually, I'm going to go ahead and undo this. Command X, and then I'm going to undo, Command Z, until this gets bigger. So before I did these changes, and I'm going to do Command V, and I'm going to add it up here. And maybe I'll go ahead and take this all the way to the edge, or I could make this smaller. Either way, let me see how this looks. If I make this smaller, select all of this, maybe something like that, just to give me a little space. And let me bring this up a little, somewhere right there. I want to match the baseline here, so I have something to guide it with, and I'm going to drag it up, make it a little bit bigger, and take it almost to the edge there. Maybe somewhere there. So we could do something like that. I'm going to say that looks pretty good. It's a lighter blue, so it's not real dominant like these are. And then I'm going to go ahead and add this logo to the side of this side of it. So I'm actually going to remember my layers panel. This is going to go into my side info. Actually, it's going to go into my side nutrition layer. So I'm going to click on that one, link file, and go into side nutrition. Let me go ahead and lock my front layer for now. And I want to center it there, so I could always line it up to the edge here and hold shift and line it up to this edge. And now if I hold option and shift and I scale it down, it's going to scale down on this on the center point, so that's going to be my center point. And let me go ahead and drag a guide. So now I have my center point there, and I'm trying to match the top of this. So I want to make sure I have that on top. And let me go ahead and add the nutrition label. Maybe I want to do the side blue just to give it a little interest. So I'm going to click and drag here with my rectangle tool. I'm going to go all the way down. And I want to go past these lines because that's basically where it's going to be my trim. So I want to go past it. This unfortunately does not have a bleed line, so we just have to go past it. That's going to be our bleed. And let me open this up, drag this underneath, and I'm going to select my swatches, and I'm going to select the blue. So there we go. Have a little bit of interest there. Now let's go ahead and look for an image of some nutrition facts. Let me go to tools, size, and let's look for large. And let's see if we could open this one. So let's select it first. And let's see if we could open this. So open image in a new tab. Here it is. Let's go ahead and save image as. Let's put it in here. Let me make sure it is actually a WebP file. So let's save it. Let's see if we could possibly find another one. Actually open image in a new tab. And there's actually a bigger one, so let's save this one. Save image as. Save it. So that one's pretty good. And we could see the way this one's set up. So let me actually save this image. Open image in a new tab because I want to copy some of that information as well. So save image as. Save this one, and let's go ahead and open up our cloud converts, and let's go and let's find the images that we downloaded. So let's go here. Actually, they're not in my downloads yet. They are in my working folder. So let's go ahead and add click on add more files. One thing I noticed is I put these in the wrong place, so I put this in my Lake Piru folder. So let's look for that one, the independent map. So there's one of them, and here's another one. So make sure you put your files in the correct place. So this would have been a nightmare if I didn't see exactly where I put them. So I'm going to select both of these, open them, and then convert to JPEG. So click on this, JPEG, JPEG, go ahead and convert both of these. And I'm going to go ahead and download this one, click X, and download this one. Now let's open up our folder. Just to keep things nice and neat, let me go to my Lake Piru and delete the WebP files, move these to the trash. I'm going to go to my cereal box packaging, And I'm going to go ahead and open up my downloads folder and select both of these, bring them in. And I'm going to place both of those into my Illustrator file now. So let's go to File, Place. I'm going to select Nutrition Facts, and I'm going to select the other fronts here. So select both of them, place, and then I'm going to click and drag to place that one there. And I'm going to click and drag to place this one here. I'm going to use this when I work on my front layer again to just add a little bit more information. And I'm going to go ahead and crop this image. So I'm going to click on Crop Image. And it tells me cropping a linked file embeds a copy of the original. The original file at the linked location is not affected. So go ahead and click OK. And I'm going to zoom in. I want to make sure I only get my nutrition facts. And I'm going to give it like a small white border. Keep in mind it is going to go against this blue. So I want to add that small border. I want to try to match it up nicely all the way around. And I'm going to hit return or enter, and now it is cropped. So keep in mind this is an image that I'm placing, so it is a little bit blurry right now. So I am kind of cheating it, but like I said, if you want to go ahead and add your own, then by all means you could do the lines, you could type everything up, find a font that is similar. So now it's starting to look like something. And let me go ahead and add some ingredients. So let's see if maybe here we can add some ingredients. Instructions, ingredients. Here we go. So I'm going to copy this, copy all of this from Walmart.com. Copy, and I'm going to go into my Illustrator file. Now I'm going to create a text box. Click on this, and I'm going to click and drag, and I'm going to create a text box that kind of matches the width of that. And then I'm going to do Command V to paste. And then I'm going to put my cursor inside. Command A, I'm going to change the color to white. And I'm going to go into my characters panel because I see my letters are super huge. So go into my characters panel, and I'm going to bring my type down to, let's see, about a 7. Let's see what that looks like. I'm going to set this to auto. I'm going to make it left aligned. I'm going to do ingredients like that. Backspace. Let me make this a little bit bigger and not bold, so I'm going to do medium. And something like that. Maybe I want ingredients in bold and all caps. So in ingredients. And that one, just highlight ingredients, make that bold. And there's something like that, looks pretty good. And I'm going to make my type box a little smaller. And let's see what else we could add to this. Maybe some heart healthy stuff, or let's see what an actual cereal box looks like. And actually we have these nutrition facts information label. So maybe we could find something like that already made. If not, we could make our own. Let's see, back a cereal box. See, there's a little bit more information there. We could add the name of it. So we could add Domino's Pizza Cereal. I'm just trying to find the bottom of the side of the box. Let's see, cereal box, heart, logo. we're just trying to find assets that we could copy and put in there. So I'm not finding anything, so I'm just gonna leave that like that for now. Let's see what else we could do. We could actually move these down. Hold shift, go down. And I'm gonna click on my type tool, and I'm gonna add another box here. And I'm gonna type in Domino's -S pizza cereal. Zoom in. Command A to select everything. Let's go ahead and center this, and let's change it to white. And let's make it bigger. So if I hold Command or Control Shift and use my Command Shift and use my right brackets or the period, maybe something like this. Hold Alt or Option and decrease the leading. These are just the shortcuts to, you know, mess with the size here. So maybe Domino's pizza cereal. Make it a little bit bigger. I could make this box slightly bigger. And move these around. So that's taking up that space. So good, that fills up. That fills up our whole side. Let me move this one out of the way. So let me unlock my front now. Get this out of the way. Get this out of the way. And then maybe this side could be blue as well. So I'm gonna copy this side nutrition rectangle, hold Option and Shift and drag it to the left. And I'm gonna resize it to take up the whole space here. Again, I want it to go past this so it could give us the bleed there. And I'm gonna drag that one into our side info. So that's this one. Drag it into side info. And I want to make a copy of this as well. Hold Shift, hold Option or Alt and Shift and drag these to the side as well. And I want to, let's see, select both of these and drag those to the side info as well. And now I want to lock side nutrition. So I want to double check, turn this off and on. Perfect, that's that whole layer. And now, let's see. Let me go ahead and make a center line here. So one way to do a center line is I could select this one, this square, so it goes from edge to edge. I'm going to drag here and make a guide, place it right on the center. So now I could click on these, make sure those are centered so those look good. And we could add more information. We could say fresh ingredients or something. So I could do a little bit of research and see what else I could put on this side. So let's go ahead and open up the browser. And let's look again for our cereal box side. Let's see what shows up. So it seems like just information here. We already got that one. See, somebody created this and it just has an image of it, of the product. So I kind of wanted to add some cool information or some facts. Let me go ahead and go into VecDeezy and look up pizza again. So my new idea is I want to say something along the lines of fresh ingredients, and I want to drop in image of the ingredients or like a cool texture like this might be cool. Let's go ahead and remember to go and look for our free license ones. So Let's see if we could find our ingredients. Here are our ingredients. Let's see what else we might find. Oh, I like these. I actually like these better because the box does have something like these shapes. And I've seen some of these Domino's boxes do have some cool images that are like that, you know, hand-drawn look. So let's go ahead and download these. Hopefully we don't. Yeah, we reached our daily limits. So give me a second. Let me see if I could sign in and create an account, and I'll download these. Okay, so I just created a free account and I was able to download these. So now I have these. Let me close that. I don't think I'm going to be using these anymore. See more results. Let's see if there's anything that I might like. I like this one. Okay, so we got a couple more vector files. Let's go ahead and open these from our downloads folder. And I'm going to drag both of these in here. And I'm going to double click them. Remember, if you're on a PC, you have to extract the files. So let's see if it was this one. Pizza, yes, the EPS. Open it with Illustrator. Let's go back to our Finder and see, was it this one? No, we have that one. This one with the ingredients. So open with Illustrator. If you get this warning, go ahead and just click yes. So I'm going to select, I notice that I have this rectangle around it, so I'm going to click delete, delete, and click on my selection tool. So these are all single groups, that's perfect. Click and drag to select all of them, Command or Control C. Go over here and I want to make sure I'm on site info, Command V. And they are huge, so I'm going to hold Shift. And while I have all of them selected, make them smaller, bring them over here. Close this, Command W, and do not save. And I want this cool logo, Command C. Command W to close that, and Command V. And now I'm going to go in here, place it. I want to center it, and I want to hold Option and Shift, and now I could scale it down at the center. I want to put this logo here, switch the color to white, and now I'm going to write, make a copy of this, drop it down, double click, and I'm going to say fresh hand tossed pizza bites. And I'm going to make this a little bit bigger to do that. Now this one I'd want to do maybe like a white box behind it. And I'm going to make that rectangle underneath. Actually, what I want to find is my type and drag that one above. Since I made a copy, it was still underneath all these layers. So I'm going to click on this and I'm going to select the color, and actually I want to click on my swatches and select red, and there we go. So just so I have some interest there as opposed to everything just being white. One thing I noticed is I sampled this blue and I noticed this blue is not matching, but that's okay. We'll just stick with that. And now I want to make sure I have even spacing here. And that looks pretty good. So I want to make sure the space on the top and bottom kind of match. And I could always take a look at my kerning. So hand, I could close up the H and the A and the N a little bit, R and the E. So this is a time to go ahead and, you know, start messing with your kerning. And we could add some of these ingredients. So we could say, make a copy of this, hold shift and double click and say real ingredients. Or let's see, organic ingredients. And then on this one we could make it white, so Command A, and we're gonna do white, so that way we're sticking to a theme and everything kind of, you know, flows. We could switch up the font because I noticed they do have like different fonts, so we could let's see if we find something different, something that changes this up, something a little more organic. So let's go to our character panel and see what we have. I don't have a whole lot of fonts. Let me see, something like this. No. I was thinking something that is a little bit more like hand-drawn, traditional. So I'm just going to go ahead and undo that, and I'm just going to stick with this. And I'm going to make organic bigger. So I'm going to click on my character panel, bring this up, and there we go. So I have a nice block. Whoops. And actually I could increase the leading, so Command A, character, I want to increase the leading so then that I could add a line underneath it. So I could just click here, hold shift with my line tool, with my line segment tool, and I could add a stroke, make it a white stroke. Let's make it 2 points, zoom in and bring it down, and there we go. So now we have that. And let me select this whole thing, and let's switch these to white. I'm going to make a group out of all of these, so right click and group, hold shift, bring it down. So I'm going to use this as is. And hopefully it fits nicely here. We might have to tweak a few things, so I'm going to make this logo a little smaller, bring it up, then select both of these. I'm going to group these, so Command or Control G. So now if I click away, I could drag this up as 1 unit, and then now I'm going to select this and the line and group this. So now this is a unit, and let me bring this up a little, and there we go. That is the side. Okay, so now let's go ahead and do the back. So I'm going to call this side done, and let me go ahead and go to my layers panel. Let me lock this. Let me lock the, let's see, let me go ahead and lock this other side. Oh, that's already locked. So now let's go into our back panel. And this one is in the front. So I'm gonna, if I select this and it is selected and it's in the front, I could click and drag this and drag it to the back. So now it is in our back panel, our back layer. I'm gonna hold shift and put this in here. And I'm going to go ahead and zoom in. And actually, just so we could see, I'm going to drag it back out because I noticed that it does have white in there. So I'm going to click on my magic wand tool, and then I'm going to select the white, zoom out, and I want to delete the white, that way it is transparent. Basically all I want are the black lines, so I want to make sure it's only selecting that, nothing else, because this magic wand tool, it selects everything that is the same. So right there it's selecting all the whites, and now if I click delete, it deletes everything. So now I have this, and I could switch the color to whatever I want. So I'm gonna keep with my blue theme, so I'm gonna move this in to the back, and I'm gonna go into my swatches and select our Domino's blue. And again, I'm gonna make a rectangle here, and I'm just gonna use this one to guide myself to make the center line. So I'm gonna drag this right here. So that gives me a center line. Now let me delete this. I no longer need it. Actually, I'm gonna go ahead and place it there. Leave it, center this, and I'm gonna use that as like a placeholder to add some text. So I'm gonna click and drag this down, and I'm gonna click on my type tool and click. So I'm gonna say something clever like turn this box into a piece of art or something. Turn this box into a piece of art. Clever, huh? Alrighty, let's go ahead and do that. Let's put it in 2 lines, and I'm going to select this, make it bigger. So let's go into our character panel, and I do not see it. Oh, there it is. And make this bigger. Increase the lighting a little bit. Bring it up. And make this white. And I'm going to make this box a little bit bigger. And click on the type tool, click again, and I'm going to say bring out your colors and have some fun. And then Command or Control A, and I'm going to change this to medium, and maybe medium condensed or condensed medium, since it is pretty wide. And let's go ahead and make this smaller. And I'm going to center this and change it to white as well. So again, I incorporated a fun part of this. You could add another image of, of the project. Maybe you could add something similar to this in the back. Let's see, this was not centered. There we go, and maybe we could add something else to the bottom here. So hold Option and Shift, go down here. Maybe this one is smaller, and let's see what we could do. Think of something clever to write down here. And I actually forgot that I had placed this right here. I wanted to use this, so, and I had this pizza here, so let's see. I don't think we need this anymore, so let me start deleting a few things. I still want to make this, and let's see, what could we place in there? Let me zoom in. Maybe I want to add these in that area. Or I could just add this bottom piece. So let me go ahead and do that to make it easy. Crop the image, click OK. I'm going to go all the way down here. Drag this, that way I don't have to reformat this. If I had more time, I could obviously create some of these in vector format, bring in a trash can or create my own. But I'm just going to do this, and let me go ahead and delete this and bring this here. And if I hold Option and Shift, I could resize this a little bit bigger. And bring it up a little bit. I'm going to give it some space down here. Actually, bring this all the way to the top and bring both of these to the top. Try to center them within that box, and let me move this pizza up. And there we go. Okay, so now that is that. Let me go ahead and add this Domino's pizza cereal to the top, and I'll also add it. I don't think I need to add it here. I'll see how that plays out. So I'm going to select this one, hold Shift, and select that one, and go to my layers panel. This is actually in my front layer, so I'm going to hold Option, Shift, and drag it up. And I'm going to drag these from the front to the top front layer. And I'm going to make these a little bit smaller. So if I click on a corner, hold Option and Shift, and I could scale these down a bit and bring this up. And there we go. And so actually, for when I do the top of the box, when I do that 3D mock-up, I could essentially, I don't essentially need this, so I'm going to go ahead and delete, let's see, the top back. I'm going to delete that layer, the bottom. I'm not worried about the bottoms anymore. Let's see what else. Bottom front, I'm not going to do anything with it, so I was overthinking this. And let me just make sure everything's in the right spot. So let me click and drag to select all of these. I do have something from the front back here. This pizza actually would have been neat to use that one somewhere else. Let me change this to white and see where I could place it. Something I could do is replace this one, maybe, possibly, with this pizza. So let me go ahead and try that out. Swatches. Select that color. Let me remove this and see what that would look like. I actually kind of like this better. So there you go. Change on the fly. And let me move these a little bit to the right. Move this down a little bit. Let's see how this fits a little bit better. I could just make the pizza smaller. Play around with these elements, see what looks pretty good. I kind of like that on the left a little bit better, so let me undo that. And I still have a little space here, so I could always do this. And I'm gonna say that looks good. And maybe I could add this somewhere else. Let's see where I could fit this since I did that lovely work. Maybe I could add it over here. So let me go ahead and go into my layers panel and drag that one into the back. And now let me maybe make all this left aligned. So let me go into my paragraph panel, left align it, and select it and move it to the left. And then bring this to the left to line it up there, and now we found a spot for our pizza. There we go. And that looks pretty good. Let me go ahead and delete this page now. Make sure everything's in the right place. So our front, so this is not in the front, so let me select it and drag it to the back. Turn front off and on. That's good. Top front, all my back elements. Side info is good. Side nutrition is good. So let me go ahead and bring this one to side nutrition, unlock that. Let me bring this into the front. Lock this, lock our back. Top front, lock it. Okay. So now all I want to do is add these little elements here. So we could add some of this information. So I'm gonna go ahead and create some shapes here. So I'm going to click and drag to create a shape. Right now it has a white fill, so I want to actually leave it like that for now. And what I want to do is click on a direct selection tool, actually my pen tool, and I want to add a point here. I'm going to hover over right where it gets the that line where it's my center. Select, click and add a point there, click and add a point at the bottom. So now I'm going to click on my direct selection tool, highlight both of these, and then click to create to turn it into a curved line. So I'm going to select this one and press the up button, select this one, press the down button. So it gives me a slight curve. And let me actually make it a little bit rounder. So let me go into my properties panel and click on this, more options. And I guess this one maybe doesn't give me, yeah, if it would have been a rectangle from the beginning, before I did those points. Actually, if I hold command, these show up. So now I click on this and it creates my radius. So I wanted something like that. And then I'm gonna basically just copy that. So I'm gonna click on my type tool, click here, and I'm gonna type in 150, hit enter or return, and then type in calories. And then select all of this and go into my character panel. I want to actually go to my paragraph panel, center it first, go to my character panel, and I want to make the size very small. And I'm going to do auto for the leading. Now I'm going to select 150 and I'm going to bump that up. And now I could hold shift and resize this and put it in here. So now I could select both of these and align them. So click on my center alignment here. I could do my vertical alignment as well. Vertical centered. And now I'm going to hold Option or Alt and copy this one. I'm going to make a group out of them actually. Well, I'll wait a bit before I do that. On this one, I'm going to type in 0G. And I'm not going to worry about this bottom part, so I'm just going to type in sat fat, so saturated fat. Double click on this one and hold Alt or Option and press down once just to move it away a little bit. Select both of these and then select the back one. So that's going to select this one for our alignment. And now let me go ahead and center align that one. Select this one, the whole thing, Option and Shift, and drag to the right. I'm going to type in 190 mg. And let me go ahead and make this one smaller. So actually, the way they set this up, let me check the sizes. So this one, the G, let me go ahead and drop it down and make it 11 points. And this was 19.9314. So let 190, let me do 19.9314, 19.9314. Hit return, and then this G was 11. This MG, I'm gonna do 11. Still a little too big, so I'm gonna select all of this and make it smaller. Undo that. Select that, make it smaller, and then select the MG, make it smaller as well. Maybe an 8 point, just to match things. Let me make this one an 8 point as well. And let me decrease the size of the 0 to 18, and the 190 is going to go to 18 as well. So I want to keep things as consistent as possible. Let me go to 15, and let me do a 15 on this one. And then saturated fat, I want to look at my my leading, so I'm going to go to 10, double click saturated fat, let's go down to 10, and there we go. So now those match, and I want to go ahead and copy this, Option Shift, and this one's going to be 4 G, actually 4, put my cursor here, delete that 4G, and then I'm going to add total, return, and then sugars. And then this one, I noticed this one should have been sodium, so I'll change that right now. So I'm going to double click on sugars, and I'm going to decrease the leading on this. Select both of these, select this one, and then now I'm going to center it. This one I'm going to type in sodium, and there we go. Let's click on our type tool. I'm going to add the per, Command A to select everything, and I'm going to go to my paragraph panel, make it left aligned, per 1 1/2 cup serving. Now I notice my leading is way too open here, so let me put my cursor there, and if I go either, let me show you both ways. So if I go to my character panel, I could decrease the leading here. Sorry, the kerning. So let me do maybe a -100, and then on this one, if I put my cursor here, I could just hold Option or Alt and click on the left arrow key, so it takes it by jumps. So there's that. So I'm going to line this up. I'm going to select all of these actually, and I'm going to go ahead and place them maybe over here. And maybe my bowl, let me move this up, and we'll see where, well, now that we have this, we have some arranging to do. I'm trying to see how they have their stuff, how they place everything. So I'm going to go ahead and delete this now. Let me go ahead and add some colors here. So I feel like these should technically all be that blue, and this should be that blue as well. And I'm going to select the types in here and make those white. There we go. Select everything here, and let me move this up actually right here. I'm going to move this to the right, just so we have like that line here, somewhat of a line where everything aligns to the right. And actually that looks pretty decent. Let me move my bowl Down here a little bit. Make it a little bit bigger. Move this to the right, just get like a better use of this space. Select both of those. And there we go. So I think this is done. So, okay, so once you're done with this, we're going to go to File. We're going to save it, and then we're going to do a File, Save As. So we want our Illustrator file, and then we also want to create a PDF. So we're going to go to Adobe PDF, and we're going to go ahead and click Save. You shouldn't have this Replace option show up, so we're going to go ahead and save it. Make sure you click on Preserve Illustrator Editing Capabilities and save the PDF. And if you had View PDF after saving, it should show up. So we're going to have this file here, and we're going to go ahead and close this. We're not going to go ahead and do the 3D for this one because we'll do this at the end. We'll find a mock-up where we could put this, or we'll create the 3D then. We could do that then as well. But hopefully we could find a mock-up, and then we will display it like this and display the mock-up in its environment. So what I want you to do is close this, and then what you are going to turn in is, let me close this out, go ahead and go into your files, and you are going to turn in your cereal box PDF, cereal box with your name, and this is what you're going to turn into Schoology. So I want to thank you once again for following along with my tutorials. Can't wait to see this one, and we'll see you on the next one. Thanks a lot.